Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Jackline Aridi. I am a 2024 WomenLift Fellow for the East Africa Leadership Program, and my leadership project was titled Lifting as We Climb, Building the Next Generation of Early Career Researchers. The problem that my leadership project aimed to solve is dubbed Delivered by Women, Led by Men. A recent report by WHO presented a gender and equity analysis of the global health and social workforce, and it indicated that women make 70% of the health workforce, but only hold 25% of senior roles. Global health is predominantly led by men, and 69% of global health organizations are headed by men. 80% of board chairs are men, and only 20% of boards were found to have gender parity, and 25% had gender parity at senior management. This trend is similarly reflected by women in academia, in university departments, and in institutions, with the majority of directors and chairs of departments being male, and most early career researchers are women. The gender leadership gap is driven by stereotypes, discrimination, power imbalances, and privilege, and women's disadvantage often intersects with other identities such as race and class. Again, much of this conversation has focused on the barriers women face in reaching leadership positions. These include lack of mentorship opportunities, gender bias within organizations, and harassment, but little practical action has been taken at institutional level, and this problem is most perverse in academic settings. Lack of representation in global health leadership, including in academia, is weakened by loss of female talent, loss of research ideas, loss of knowledge from women, and additionally, a gendered leadership gap in health is a barrier to reaching the SDGs and universal health coverage. Women leaders often expand the health agenda and can focus their research on issues that are important to women, as well as strengthening health for all. On the right-hand side, you can see a picture from the Global Health Risk Framework meeting that showcases men. So what did I do in my project? My leadership project was titled Lifting as We Climb, which was a phrase that was used during the women's suffrage movement in the US to encourage women of lower status by women who are more privileged to work towards gaining the rights to vote. The activities that I did in my project included an assessment where I did a survey to the early career research women in my institute and determined what their professional development needs were. And then I also did focus group discussions and individual interviews with the 5 early career researchers that were in my institute. I analyzed the data and then used the data to design a mentorship program. I also then did a report with recommendations to the management on what the women require for ascending into leadership. What were my expected outcomes? I had 3 expected outcomes. I believe that engagement with the early careers interested in career advancement to leadership would help them in a path to gaining the leadership skills. Secondly, I arranged mentoring sessions after the engagement using the results of the survey and the qualitative inquiry to design this. And thirdly, I worked with the Institute to provide institutional resources such as leadership training programs, professional associations, networking opportunities, and participation within the research ecosystem. What is the impact that I hope to achieve? I hope to have early career researchers who are women that are in a pathway to be considered for leadership at university, departmental, and institute levels. What are some of the opportunities that I have seen during my project? One, there's a possibility for integration with an existing institutional program at Strathmore Business School for developing healthcare leaders who are women, and I've closely stayed in touch with them, and I'm working closely with them to integrate the results of my research. 2, there's a supportive organizational culture. What are some of the challenges that are faced? The capacity of the early career researchers upon entry into the academy. Some of the women who are early researchers do not have the requisite skills that are required in the academy to get ahead. Some of them are delayed in doing their PhDs or their masters. and this hampers the development into a leadership position. Secondly, the time constraints for participants to work in mentoring and to meet with mentors who are more experienced than themselves. Three, matching of mentors and mentees. I managed to get 2 women that I'm directly mentoring, but I am in the process of finding women in the global health space to mentor the rest of the women in the institute. That is proving difficult because most of the women who are in high leadership positions are in different specializations like mathematics, modeling, and other areas that are not global health. What is the achievement that I've had so far? 2 mentees have been matched to a year-long process of scheduled meetings and a meeting with their mentors. What is the closing message that I have? My call to action is that we need to sustain the momentum of early career research as being capacity built. We need to raise awareness and advocacy on the importance of gendered leadership through more conversations with the leadership and management at our institutions. We need to do this through webinars and fireside chats on the importance of building a more inclusive culture for women in academia. Capacity building and professional development also needs to be a critical part of the HR policy in institutions, taking into account the gender realities of young early career researchers. And lastly, mentorship and coaching programs need to be infused as part of institutional support. I leave you with a quote from Anna Kalbarisis, who's an associate scientist that I recently met at a meeting from Johns Hopkins. It's about what issues are being prioritized, what is seen as important, and where resources are going. Having more diversity at the table, including women, will allow leaders and policymakers to effectively draw attention and address issues that are often not given proper attention. Thank you and have a good day.